Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is May 31st, the very last day of May, here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, out at the bee yard for a routine inspection of hive number 5, which is a swarm I relocated from my buddy's place 3 miles northwest of me, just about, well, let's see, just over a month ago. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a swarm he caught. I left it out here. You know, if you haven't watched the previous videos, I'll give you a quick roll-up. Moved it over here, left him alone for a week, gave him some sugar water, and then come to find out the following week when I inspected him for the first time, couldn't find a queen, couldn't find any eggs, no evidence there was a queen whatsoever. So I moved a few frames that had 4 swarm cells on them, gave them about a week or two, and last week, it looks like they hatched out, of course, and made it, because last week I found quite a few frames with eggs. However, I was not able to find the queen, so that is the goal this week. Quite a few yellow jackets, more than I would like to see. So for this time of year, again, checking for swarm cells, it's not uncommon for a newly mated queen to lay a whole bunch of eggs, and for whatever reason, the bees develop some of those eggs into a swarm cell, and they swarm, and then the cycle repeats itself, which is just, you know, not what you really want. Smokers really having a hard time staying lit because I have some green, that's what I'm trying to say, I have some green fuel there because we've received about 40 inches of rain this month. This weekend we've received about 14 inches and it's rained for about 15 days this month. So I'm also out here using this one-handed queen catcher for the first time, and as you can see there's some blue paint in there, which means I marked a queen. So unlike the previous weeks where I found queens every single inspection in every hive, it took me all the way up to hive number 4, the hive that I just got done inspecting, to find a queen. And hive number 4 is also in a 5-frame nuke, so a little easier to find a queen because you're only dealing with half the space. So like I said, I was not able to find the queen last week in number 5, but there was quite a few frames in the center packed full of eggs. So they should either be very large pupated larvae at this point, or the bees should have capped those cells by now. But the goal, other than checking for eggs, making sure they're queen right, and, you know, dealing with swarm cells if it comes to that, the other goal this week is using this, at least for the second time. So as you can see, I'm going to mess with the smoker again, because this thing just does not want to stay lit. But I only have one more colony to get through, and then I can put the smoker back in its container and it can chill out for the week. But yeah, I definitely want to find the queen so I can mark her. And if you watch the video on hive number 4, marking that queen using the, well, that was also the first time I've ever done that. I've never marked a queen myself before. I bought one marked queen years ago. That was the very first hive, number 1, which that queen's long gone by now. But yeah, I've never messed with marking queens before just because I didn't have the right tools. I watched a video, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he had bees down in around Gainesville, Florida, and sure enough, I almost didn't do that. And oh, she just flew. Oh, this is so strange. That's a first. That is a first. And I got her on the wrong side because I'm an idiot. So the queen, check this out. The queen was actually on the inner cover, flew down to the the box there, and because I'm a dumbass, I used the wrong side of the queen catcher. I doubt this is gonna work. Huh. Check that out. How's that for being a queen bee catcher? So now, for my third trick, in this very short period of time. Let me see if I can get her down in this thing. Come on. This is 100% winging it. Ha! Holy smokes. I mean, that, without removing one frame, caught the queen. So that goes to show you the previous tips I've provided of checking the bottom side of your queen excluder or underneath the lid. That is the first time I have ever found a queen on the lid. And most of the time, to be honest with y'all, I don't even look. So I wonder how many times I have not been able to find the queen, and then go figure she's on the lid. And I'm not gentle with the lids at all, and move them, you know, off the box, set them aside, and sure enough, sometimes the queen's right there. All right, so I am gently pushing up on the plunger here, or I'm trying to, at least, and it seems to just be giving me trouble. But yeah, it looks like, I can't really tell. All right. Come on. Oh man, that's why. Ton of, oh Jesus. Ton of paint comes out of this thing. Shooby. There you go. Another marked queen. So like the videos say, just let her kind of dry out for a few minutes. And let me show you something. Because I flung the paint pen off camera to get some of the paint off of the tip. And look how much paint comes out of these paint pens. So I'm showing you this just to say be careful when you prime the pen, because more paint comes out than you think, apparently. I mean, it's all over the damn place. Alright, so she is definitely marked a lot better than Hive number 4's queen, which that was the first time I've ever done that. So yeah, that was not pretty. I don't think it was at all, but she was definitely on the bottom side of the inner cover. Still very inexperienced using this one-hand queen catcher, and I used the wrong side. I used this side, which is the plunger, instead of putting it with that side facing down. If I used it the right way, it would have been extremely easy to use, but obviously I didn't. So let's go through this box real quick. Still need to do an inspection, just looking for swarm cells and everything, but clearly they have a queen, and she is now marked, which again, that is I wouldn't say a first, but that is definitely a second for me. Second frame, they're drawing in a ton of nectar. Looks like that. Same thing on the third frame. They're filling that out with a lot of nectar and curing some of it into honey. But yeah, that is a very handy tool. I picked that up on Amazon. Yeah, here we go. What is this, frame 4? Frame 4, I think I showed this last week, but surrounding the capped honey at the top and some of the nectar and pollen, you can see a ton of eggs. So she's filling this out with a lot of eggs. Yeah, Man Lake sells that queen catcher for about 25 bucks, but you can find it on Amazon for a few dollars less. I think I paid about $20 for that, and then the paint pen's like maybe 7 or 8 bucks or something, but that thing will last forever. Yeah, ton of eggs on this side. So she's doing good. So at this point I'm really looking for swarm cells, so I can move a little faster. And I think that's an old one. that I just left in place, but it doesn't hurt to tear it down. Ton of eggs on this side too, so she's doing good. Not much going on there. They're still drawing that side out. I think I moved that frame over from being more on the outside to put it in the center to prompt them to draw it out, and maybe she'll start laying in that. And just because I have some time, this being frame number 9 as well. Don't expect to see any eggs, but you never know. But that is a pretty nice candidate for eggs. Now let's check the very last frame. Yeah, I don't know if I seem surprised on camera, but I definitely could not believe my eyes finding her on the inner cover like that. Alright, they're good. Within the next week or two, should start seeing a lot more capped brood, and then a few weeks after that, the bee population of this colony should explode. So yeah, you can take swarm cells from one of your other hives and get a queenless colony queen right. All right, let's take another look at her. Maybe she'll turn over so we can see her nice little blue dot now. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. But let's get her released. Hopefully she's not too flighty. She actually tried to fly away a little bit when I was trying to cage her. And there she goes. All right. That's that. Let's get them boxed up and man, she's like hanging out on top. Strange. Never seen a queen do that. Alright, well hey, that's hive number 5. They're definitely queen right. Learned their lesson with the paint marker by flinging it off camera. Paint comes out of that thing way faster than you think. But this one-handed queen catcher, as long as you're not an idiot like me, well, I say that, but I'm still learning how to use it. I just grabbed it real quick to trap her, and I trapped her on the wrong side. But as you can see, sometimes when you wing it, if you have this thing and a queen clip, sometimes you can just make stuff happen. So I guess that's what it's all about. Sometimes you just got to adapt, and adapt rather quickly. Alright, so that does it for hive number 5. They have, well, they are queen right. They have a marked queen, which was one of the swarm cells from hive number 3 right here. So now, moving forward, I'll be able to tell if they have swarmed, because if I find a queen that is not marked in hive number 5, also in hive number 4, but that's a separate video, I will know they have swarmed. Alright, that does it for this week. Pretty quick 10-minute inspection, plus or minus a minute or two. But I guess finding a queen is pretty simple when she's hanging out on the bottom side of the inner cover. I could not believe that. And like I was saying before, I don't know if I sounded surprised or not, but that was, I don't know, it just caught me off guard, I guess. So that's what I'm saying. That does it for now. That inspection's over. Let's take a look at the front entrance. This is what I was saying earlier. There's just a ton of yellow jackets hanging out getting some free food. But I guess not everything's free, because that jacket paid the ultimate price and was killed. I'm assuming by the bees, but who knows, right? Alright, that's it for this week. Check us out next week for another routine inspection of hive number 5. Be curious to see how easy it is to find the queen now that she's marked, but I'll just have to figure that out next week when I'm back out here. No idea what that is. Get off. Get out of here. Some weird looking bug. Alright, so for the 3rd time or so, that's it. Weekly inspection's over. Check us out next week. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter if you want to look at our content on those platforms. It's Cole's Farm NC for North Carolina. That's the easiest way to get there, or you can use the links up in the header information on our YouTube channel. Alright, thanks again everybody, appreciate it.